Hey guys, Tommy with Elevation every weekend. I just wanted to do a really quick video with everything going on in the world now. I thought it'd be kind of an interesting, maybe a little bit of a fun thing to consider, selecting a bug out bike. So if I had to pick one of my bikes and go for some reason, which one would I pick and why? So I was just going to do a quick rundown of each one, just to give some pros and cons and kind of see where it ends up. But it's really just for fun, just something to do since we're all quarantined still anyways. So I figured I'd review my bike quiver and see which one would be the best choice. So I have 5 bikes I would seriously consider. One is a 2017 Giant Anthem, which is this bike right here. It's 27.5-inch wheel size, full suspension bike. The next one is a 2010 Giant TCX2. It is a cyclocross bike. The third bike is a 2015 Trek Stache. It's a hardtail 29er. The fourth bike is the Surly Pugsley. It's a 2014. It's got 4-inch wide tires stock. And then the last bike I would seriously consider is my newest bike, which has been featured prominently on this channel so far. And that's my 2020 Surly ice cream truck. Again, another fat bike, and it has 4.8-inch wide tires. So the first bike I'm going to talk about, which would actually be number 5 on my list, is the 2017 Giant Anthem. Again, it is a 27.5-inch wheel size. I'm just going to go through a few pros and cons. Pros, it's very good in technical terrain, so single track, and if you were descending, it performs great in those types of terrain. It is actually a really good climbing bike. Unfortunately, other than those couple things, it's not very good in pretty much all the other scenarios that you would look at if you had to bug out from my garage. It's not very good on pavement. The 27.5-inch wheel size, while I do love it on the trail, it's kind of an oddball size, so it wouldn't be the easiest thing if I had to find a tube or a tire. This one is set up tubeless, but that's probably not ideal. The drivetrain is a 1x11. Again, I like it a lot on the trail, and it's great for climbing, but it's not very good for top speed. I can spin it out pretty easily on pavement and flat surfaces. The other thing is it's full suspension, which is great for comfort, great for technical capability. Not so great when you're talking about long-term durability, because there's just a lot more to go wrong on a full suspension bike, and service intervals, all those types of things to consider. And then lastly, it does add weight to the bike that you wouldn't really necessarily want or need. But probably the biggest downfall of this bike is its ability to carry stuff. So it has one water bottle mount, and that's it. It doesn't really have any capacity for carrying any kind of racks, bags, additional water. Even if I were to try to do like a frame bag or something, you have the full suspension and the rear suspension, which would be an issue. So that's why this bike would probably be last on my list for a bug out situation, is just because it's really limited in all those other areas that would be really important. Next bike I'm going to talk about, and number 4 on my list, is my 2015 Trek Stache. It's a traditional hardtail 29er. If you're familiar with the Trek Stache line at all, just after I bought this bike, they actually came out with the 29er plus version of the bike when they completely redesigned it. Did some weird things with the chainstay and whatnot. But this is a traditional 29er. I actually love this bike. I actually ride it a lot. I probably ride it as far as hours on the bike, probably more than any bike I own still, because I use it all the time for things like gravel grinding and mixed riding. So it's a great all-around bike, and I ride it a ton. It's very comfortable. It's very capable. It does have a front suspension fork. It's 120 millimeter suspension in the front. It is a little trail oriented as far as the geometry of the bike. It is considered a cross-country bike, but it's a little more on the aggressive side, which cross-country bikes have continued to get more aggressive. But it's a great bike just because it's fairly capable, it's fairly quick, it's reasonably light. I mean, it is an aluminum bike, and it has some mid-range parts on it. It could be made lighter, it's capable, it's quick, it does fine on pavement, does great on dirt road, gravel grinding, those types of things, and even light trail use. So it's a good bike from all those areas. The biggest failing of this bike would be its carrying capacity. So it does have 2 water bottle mounts, so that's something. But beyond that, there's no way to really carry extra stuff on the bike, and that's kind of the biggest downfall of this bike, and probably why it's a little lower on the list. If it had some options to even mount just a rear frame, a rear rack of some sort, things like that, it would probably be a little higher on the list, because I do like riding it and is very capable and comfortable. But yeah, it's a good all-around bike, but this lacks in carrying stuff, which is a kind of an important aspect to the bug out scenario. Next up, we're going to talk about my 2010 Giant TCX2. It's number 3 on my list, and it's probably the most interesting bike to consider of the 5 that I own. At a glance, you might think it's a road bike, but it's not. It's actually a cyclocross bike, which is a form of racing, and it takes a bike that's very similar in road geometry and beefs it up a little bit and gives you more tire clearance front and back. It has these cantilever brakes, which again, if you're riding in mud or things like that, it doesn't cake up in the brakes like it otherwise would with a road bike. The gearing is 2x9 on this bike. It's not as high speed and close ratio as a pure road bike, but it is much closer to road gearing than mountain bike gearing. It does really have good top speed on pavement and things like that. I do have it set up with smaller tires, probably the smallest tires you can fit to it, and they are more road biased because that's how I use it. But you could easily put some 32 or 35 C tires on there with some tread, and it would improve the comfort and the performance of the bike, especially off pavement. So it does have some off-road capability, off-pavement capability. It's not a very comfortable bike in those conditions because there's no suspension at all. So that is something to consider. The comfort, it is a drop bar bike. That does help with aerodynamics and things like that, but at the same time, off-road, it's not the most comfortable bike to ride. It is higher than the Stache mainly for one reason. It has 2 water bottle holders, so it can carry the same as the Stache. But this bike actually does have the ability to mount a rear rack. It has rack mounts on it. So it does have more capability on that side of things, which was pretty much the determining factor, because those 2 bikes, this bike and the orange Stache, are very close. The Stache gets the edge in the dirt and off-road. This gets the edge on pavement, and it's lighter and it's a little more efficient and faster. So pretty much it just came down to the fact that this bike can take a rack mount was the tiebreaker. So it would not be a bad bike to leave on, but if you're trying to avoid people and you're going to be off the pavement a lot, which I would probably think would be the case, it's going to be really testing its capabilities and its comfort in that scenario. So that's why it's number 3 on the list. So the next bike up to talk about is my 2020 Surly ice cream truck. It's number 2 on the list. It's actually, I guess I could call it 1A and 1B between the 2 fat bikes. But there's a couple reasons why I put this in the number 2 spot. As far as why it's better than the Giant TCX, the cross bike, even though it's much slower, not as efficient to ride, would not be very pleasant on the pavement, because I would expect a considerable amount of off-road riding and varied terrain and things like that. This bike is highly capable, especially if you're talking winter conditions where you might be encountering snow and things like that. This bike excels in those types of things. It may not be very fast, but it will ride over just about anything you can ride a bike over in the first place. So that's why I made that delineation between that and the cross bike. And then the biggest difference between the fat bikes and all the other bikes is the ability to carry stuff. So they have mounts all over the fork for water bottle holders, for front mount, rack mounts. Here, you can mount a rear rack on the back. And then you have options for, bags and frame mounts and things like that as well, which the other bikes would have some of those too, but these bikes can carry a lot more weight, reliably, stable. They under load, they're stable and easier to ride. You get a lot of comfort out of the fat tires as well, so that would be a benefit. So for all the negatives as far as the rolling resistance and the weight, they are very comfortable, very capable. So that's why I would choose one of the fat bikes as the top choice. And I'm going to talk about in a second here why this bike is number 2 and the other bike's number 1. Okay, so the last bike I'm going to talk about and number 1 on the list is my 2014 Surly Pugsley. It is a fat bike. It's got 4-inch wide tires. The reason why I'm going to edge this one out over the ice cream truck, even though the ice cream truck's kind of latest, greatest, and right now I'd say it's more fun for me to ride than this bike. I do love still riding this bike, but this bike really is designed for adventure riding, touring. It's got a more comfortable, upright seating position for long days, so that's a factor. It's got a number of other design elements that are kind of geared towards being versatile. Both bikes are highly durable, and both bikes have basically the same suite of connection points for carrying things. So there's really a tie there. But this bike, it really is designed as a touring adventure bike, and it's proven as such. So for a bug out situation where you're just going to kind of take it and go, you want a bike that's capable, that can carry a lot of stuff, that you can get parts for. It has a 2x10 drivetrain, so it's got a much more mid-grade drivetrain and easy to service and find parts for. My ice cream truck has a 1x12, which is awesome, but if something catastrophic went wrong with it, that would be a big concern. So probably the biggest letdown this bike has right now is the fact that it does have heavy tires on it, and it is not set up tubeless. So it is my goal, which kind of leads me into kind of considering this little exercise and bugging out on a bike and whatnot. It's leading me to, I am going to do a number of upgrades to this bike. I will document it in probably a series of videos, but I'm going to do things like put some lighter, more efficient, but still durable, capable tires on. I am going to set it up tubeless to improve efficiency. I'm probably going to make some changes to the bars, put the Surly Monaco bars on, and probably I already do have a rear rack for it, which is not on the bike now, but which is another factor. Is I have a rack that fits this bike already, so that's a piece of equipment that this bike could have if I needed it to go. And I'm just basically going to do a bug out bike, adventure bike type build on it, and really have some fun with it and see what it can do. So this is number 1 on the list. It's the Surly Pugsley. So I hope you found it entertaining, and if you have a series of bikes or even just one bike, tell me about it in the comments below, or which one you would pick. So thanks for taking a few minutes to watch this, and if you have any comments or questions, please drop them down below. If you found the video interesting or entertaining, please drop a like, and if you want to see what's to come with this bike, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks, and have a great day.